It's the end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. Well, folks, as I said at that roundtable, we were going to have some breakout one-on-ones, and it's my pleasure to sit here and talk with Cynthia. And Cynthia heads up the recruitment division for Impact Networking. And as we say many times, without the people, nothing happens. And Cynthia, it's so great to sit down and talk with you. And,
thank you. You as well.
It's a interesting organization, to say the least. And I think your job's kind of easy, so let me just throw that out there. I mean, who the hell does not want to come work for Impact Networking, right?
Yeah. It's
so,
a big selling point.
A lot of folks, when you're a small company, you probably don't have a internal recruitment staff. You have sales managers that might run around and try to find someone they think might be a fit and all that stuff. But at a company the size of Impact, Eric said at that roundtable, you have 150 salespeople. You obviously have turnover. You're always looking for new people. Plus, you have growth, so you're adding people for organic growth as well. But how many people are on your team for the Impact recruiting? Let's start there.
Yeah, for the recruiting function, there are 7 people total. So
Wow.
we have our Director of Talent Acquisition, Justin, and then he has 6 recruiters underneath him.
Wow. Wow. So, I think recruiting is a lot like the reps going out and finding the right customer, because you can't just bring people to the table and waste the time
Right.
of the CEO, the COO, the people running the sales division. So,
Yeah.
How do you learn those different areas, if you will? I mean, if you're not an IT expert, but how do you go find an IT expert?
Sure.
And is that why having an internal recruitment team is beneficial, I guess, would be the answer.
Yeah, absolutely. It takes experience to understand exactly what you're looking for. So when I started the recruiting division, I focused on our sales staff. So trial by fire, understanding what we were looking for, what was working, what's the ideal persona. And that was a very different impact when we first started the recruiting team. There was 2 people, and we were focused on hiring entry-level sales reps out of college that could knock on 50 plus doors a day.
Sure.
And we spent a lot of time physically on campuses across the Midwest. And that strategy worked for us at that point in time. But as our business scaled and as we moved from a printer-focused company to a managed services focused, our talent and that candidate persona to sell those services changed. And it still adapts and changes frequently. So with that transition, our recruiting strategy transitioned extremely. So instead of hiring an entry rep out of college, you were hiring somebody that had experience selling services, not necessarily a product, right? Because that is a different conversation. Sure. And through scaling our managed IT division, we needed to staff a lot of IT talent, engineers, help desk, technical account managers, you name it. So that was really the core focus of our recruiting team, and still is a major focus, is that technical IT talent and that high-level sales talent. So when building my team, it was really focused on finding recruiters that were hungry, that were competitive, that had a lot of those same traits that salespeople do. Because to your point, there are a lot of similarities. And when you think corporate recruiting, a lot of the times you think it's sitting and calling on resumes that are coming to you. And that is a small fraction of what the job is. The majority of it is going out and finding the talent, because that's where the talent exists, and that's often where the best talent is.
I think the higher scale the company, the more they go get the talent.
Right.
And they probably get the talent while it's working. And I asked you that question at the round table. But, when you think about rifling through a bunch of resumes, even though we have AI to do all that, I mean, that could be for some really mundane jobs within the organization. But when you're looking for account executives to go call and selling assessments that are $25,000 and, selling managed services contracts that are 6 figures a month.
Right.
It takes a different kind of talent to do that. Do you have recruiters in different parts of the country physically, or is everybody here in?
So everybody, the team is centralized out of corporate, and they have their own territory. So a talent consultant may be responsible for California and Illinois, and we split it up that way, which has worked really well, centralizing it, keeping everybody out of corporate, and still working closely with those hiring managers. So that's how we do it.
Do they ever go to the satellite facilities to get
Yes.
their head around the culture of that particular?
Yes, absolutely. So traveling to physically see the space of where they're going to be recruiting that talent, because that relationship, I always tell my team, is that relationship that you have with the hiring managers that you work with is so crucial. Like, you guys have to be in lockstep with each other. You have to have trust and mutual respect on both ends to see success on both sides. And, you know, that goes to your point of, like, what does it take to get that high level talent in the door? And how are you screening that talent so you're getting that quality over that quantity? And a lot of times in recruiting, you'll see recruiters, whether it's from a firm or like a smaller corporate company, the screening process is very minimal. It's a 5-minute phone call.
Yeah.
You know, this is the job. Does that sound good to you? This is the pay. Does that sound good? Are you good with this? All right, great. Let's put you on to XY hiring manager. And with that process, there's so much more in between that, right? Of like, what is needed to do the job? You know, what are the soft skills? What are the personality attributes? Digging into that experience, right? So that's the approach that our team takes. Instead of doing that very quick 5-minute phone call, every single one of our pre-screens, if you will, is a video call. So our recruiters are actually having a face-to-face conversation with the candidates, and they usually are like a 30 to 45-minute conversation, you know, really interviewing that candidate, understanding their experience, digging into that experience, seeing how it correlates. And then also, in addition to the experience side, you have to remember that, you know, people make moves for, most of the time, personal decisions, whether they're missing a career path, whether they don't like the company culture, what have you. So that's an important part of our strategy too, and not missing sight of that. Because that's what really stands out from a basic recruiter, if you will, from an exceptional one, is one that connects personally with that candidate, understands what they're looking for, meets them where they are. Then they're more likely to go to that interview and get bought in versus ghosting for Google or whoever else that they might be interviewing with.
And you were saying most of the candidates you're talking to, you went and found them.
Yes.
Versus them finding you, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Do you guys mine any of the social data that's out there on these individuals around thought leadership? And see, you know, is there tools that help you say, look what this person's writing about. This could be a good fit, or is that even part of the process yet? Because if it's not, it probably will be.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that goes into the AI capabilities that are on the funnel. You know, because we do very much like a social platform awareness type of screen. So, you know, seeing what their activity is on LinkedIn, you know, what kind of effort are they putting into their profile and things like that. But I know that's on the roadmap for AI, and like the AI space in recruiting in general is just blown up, and it's really amazing all the tools that are available.
Well, it'll also make it a little bit more competitive.
Yes.
So you have to have something on the back end for these people to come to. So
Right.
I think you got that part figured out.
Yeah.
You just got to figure out how to get more people in here.
Yeah.
And you know, how many interviews is Impact doing a week?
I would say on average, you know, our team, like first pre-screens, you're probably looking at 75 to 100 pre-screens. And now of those pre-screens, usually a minimum of half will go through to that first round interview. So you're looking at, roughly anywhere between 35 to 50 interviews a week across our whole company, sales and operations as well.
That's a lot.
It is. Yeah.
It takes a team to be able to do that for sure.
Yes. Absolutely.
Well, you know, you always have turnover, but let's say you don't have turnover. Let's say you're the managed IT space, if you will. You know, everything's going great. Are you still recruiting?
Absolutely. Yes.
And why do people need to do that? So tell the audience, Cynthia, because a lot of people think, oh, everything's going great, we don't need to recruit anything.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. And that's huge. And a lot of people don't pay enough attention to that. And proactive pipeline building, what we call it internally, is another big part of our process internally, and something that we hold our team accountable for, of having a proactive pipeline ready to go. And there's two different ways of doing that. It's, you know, being in constant communication with your leaders of like, hey, I'm forecasting this need due to growth or due to a potential promotion or what have you. And recruiting for that role before it opens versus, okay, now we have this opening, now let's go fill it. So that's one aspect of it. And the other is just to prepare for the inevitable turnover that's going to happen. And for sales, that's so important because when we're low on manpower, that's affecting that branch and their ability to produce. So that's something that we really drive home. And then also educating hiring managers on the importance of it, because sometimes it's hard to see, I don't want to do this because I have other things to do, like let's cancel this interview for now. But the power of building a network and constantly interviewing people, those are the best leaders that understand the value of that. They practice it and they build that bench. And they're always one step ahead of the person that doesn't want to prioritize it at that time because it's not important at that moment.
Do you have folks out there, maybe at the AE level, your account executives, are they bringing people to the company that they know?
Yeah. So we do have a strong referral program, and that is actually one of our top hiring sources. Okay. It's our third top hiring source, which is powerful, the powerful of referrals. So we do see quite a bit of that.
I think as you move, Impact's bringing in some pretty high level C-suite.
Yes.
And a lot of these folks are going to have teams that they've either built or they know other executives because they lived in that world for a long time.
Yeah.
So are you seeing more of that too, where you're having some of the leaders? I'm sure you're probably already pressuring Erica. Bring some of your people in here.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, winners hire winners, great people hire great people. So we've absolutely have reaped the benefits of that already. So bringing Eric on board, he was able to introduce us to his network very quickly on. So we hired one of them as a sales manager and have constant conversations going on. So that was really exciting just to be able to reap the benefits of that right away and get great talent in the door. So we're expecting, similar situations with the other individuals as they tenure out as well.
Where are you looking for people? Obviously, and I think I asked, I think it was Dan and Tom a long time ago, a couple of years ago, at an interview, and I jokingly said, "You're not hiring, the people that are leaving the copier industry, are you?" And they kind of quickly said no, and not to, put anybody down here, but the reality of it is, we're not looking for, people that were product centric.
Right.
Even though they might have thought they were service, but they weren't. They were product centric. So where are you looking? Where's the best pool to find people for a diverse services business of impact? You guys are doing so many different things.
Yeah.
Where's your best resource?
Absolutely. So in regards to platform in specific, as far as how we're finding them, LinkedIn is a very powerful tool to be able to go and source based on whatever information. You could target a specific company, you could target specific keywords, skill sets. So it's a really amazing tool. And then pairing that with our applicant tracking system that houses anybody that's interacted with us at any point in time. So that is an ongoing database of just a massive amount of talent. But to your point, knowing who to target and where to spend your time. Because as we moved from the product-centric to the service-centric approach, there are still a lot of product-centric technology companies out there. Software as a service, and a lot of cyber companies as well, the cyber tools. So it's been really important for us to teach our team the difference. Just because you work for a cyber company doing sales doesn't mean that you're necessarily selling a service. You could still be selling a product. So just the education behind that, because there are so many different companies out there. And then, of course, directly going after other MSPs as well in the managed IT space. But that is a real thing to know the difference there, because there's a lot of tech talent that is product-centric.
Well, there's a lot of product-centric business that thinks they're service-centric, and you're exactly right. And they talk about how great their service is, and it's really about, can this person deliver an experience? And today I keep telling everybody, and I'll tell you all again, you're really selling intellect.
Right.
In a managed services environment, and you can't sell intellect that you don't have.
Right.
Is there any limits on any kind of education background?
So we're open with that. We've traditionally always, had bachelor's degree as preferred, but now we're starting to button that up a little bit. So we're starting to look at master's degrees preferred. So again, leveling that up. So bachelor's is, the base, and then we do prefer that master's, especially when we're talking about leadership positions or any executive level position. That is definitely something that we're requiring moving forward.
I think Impact, I know Anthony went through a course himself. But
Yeah.
does Impact offer any kind of assistance to
Yes.
people to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a big initiative of pushing external education on our leaders and all of our employees in general. So a lot of our executive team has gone through the Kellogg executive program at Northwestern. So replicating that and pushing that down to other levels of leaders has been very beneficial. And myself, I've gone through a talent management course where it was all aspects from recruiting to talent management and everything in between, and it's really powerful. Especially if you've been out of school for a while, to put yourself back into that student seat, you learn a lot. And with Impact being a very promote from within type of company, we have a lot of really great internal talent that has grown up in the business, has the impact knowledge. So taking our talent and giving them the opportunity to bring more to the table from external education is huge.
So let me ask you this question. You're out there recruiting people. Are you recruiting your own team without them even knowing it? I mean, you have a pool of 800 people.
Sure.
Are you looking at these people? I mean, obviously, some of them are in the job they need to be in, but
Yeah.
but are you looking at this team without them even knowing that, hey, maybe there's someone on the team that's in this area that we can move to this area?
Absolutely, yeah, and we see that a ton. If somebody is just not in the right spot to fully maximize the skills that they have, bringing them to another department. And we've seen that specifically with AI a lot, right? Because that was a newer division that we brought in external talent, but we had a lot of internal talent that had great skills to bring to that team. So we've seen it there. And we see that in the sales engine as well. Perhaps there's somebody that would be a really great fit for our customer success team and that they're going to see best success there. So taking them from whether it's an AE role or an SDR role, putting them where they're best suited. So we do a lot of that, and that's always a priority, looking through that lens to make sure that we have the talent where they're best fit, right? Because the people are our greatest asset, and sometimes they're just not in the right spot.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of folks will move problems
Yeah.
based on, whatever the reason is that the
Yeah.
person needs to stay. And I don't think you are doing that. But I think that proactive approach to look at the whole team in general, is there things that are standing out, which AI will tell us more of this. Because you can't just wait for the employee to come find you in the hall somewhere and say, is there anything else in the company I can do?
Right.
And a lot of times they might be fearful to say that.
Yeah.
But if the recruitment team has the ability to proactively dig into all the employees here and figure out, well, you know what, we're looking at this person, and that person would probably be better over here. We want to approach them. I mean, can you do that at this point?
At this point, it's more on the employee to initiate that conversation. So we have like an internal careers platform that they can go to and see all the jobs and apply formally, and we give everybody the chance to go through the process. So it's an interesting concept because to your point, it's a big opportunity. And so we have that mindset at the senior leadership level and take action on that, but the recruiters directly, not at this time.
So I think if the employees know that you do, most people just need to do the best job that they can in the position they're in.
Right.
Because the cream always rises to the top.
Right.
So if they're doing the best job for the position they're in, I think with the technology, we're going to be able to protect those people for the company, because we're going to realize, they're doing a really great job there, but they're also bored out of their mind.
Right, absolutely.
And we could, we could capitalize on that asset, if we put them somewhere else.
Right, and that's that's a real strategy that's important for businesses to understand. Like, who are their star players on their team that are going to get bored once they get to that next level? Have you talked about what's next for them? And if you haven't, that's a huge pain point and potential turnover that's going to happen there. So that's an exercise that we've actually done at the executive level and brought down to our teams, is identifying those individuals and making sure that we're having those proactive conversations, especially if there is a clear path. But if there isn't, being open, like, hey, what do you want to do? What do you see yourself doing? Here's how I can support you to get there, and being in constant communication. And then, of course, there's the core players, the ones that are also very important, but are just happy doing that job and are really good at it and don't want to do anything else. And those people are just as important as well.
Sure. You got to be happy.
Yeah.
That's the hope. That brings us the better experience, if you will. Well, Cynthia, it's always great talking with the team here at Impact Networking, and I think that the human capital piece is really, as far as I'm concerned, the most important piece. Doesn't matter what you have if you can't sell it, if you don't have the right people to do it, if you don't have the right people coming in that can fit inside that culture. These are all important things. So
Absolutely.
I'm sure they appreciate what you're doing for them. Is there anything you want to add before we end this?
I think that, you said it best, that, people are our most important asset. So, just for us, it's, starts on that recruiting side, and then it goes to the employee experience side, making sure that you're offering a positive experience from start to finish, and just being very aware of your talent, right? Aware of the talent that exists within your organization, ensuring they have the educational opportunities, the growth opportunities, and just constantly learning. But yeah.
Here's what I get out of it, that recruitment is proactive, not reactive.
Right.
And the more we make it proactive, the more successful we're going to be. And everybody watching me knows this: status quo is the killer of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck there. See y'all later.